Hi, welcome to my channel, So Simple. Spring is here, and so today what we're going to do is we want to learn how to make leggings. Okay, so I'm going to use the leggings that I've already made for myself so that I don't have to measure and remeasure. If you don't have a pair of leggings that you could use as a pattern, then you need to measure your waist. So take your measuring tape, measure around your waist, divide that in half. So for example, if your waist measures 30, then you know that if you fold your fabric in half from here to be here, it'll be 15. Okay, if you have a pair of leggings or pants that you could use as a pattern, fine. You don't have to rip them up or anything. What you have to do is just take it, fold it in half so that it's this way. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do because that's the easy way. Now that you folded your fabric in half, you already know how, wide your waist is. You're going to take the fabric and fold it again in half. So that it now looks this way. I decided that I'm going to make mine a little above the knees. I already made a long one for myself, and I'm a little too old to be wearing them short shorts, so I'm going to make that a little above the knees. So now that I folded my fabric in half and in half again so that it looks like it's 4 pieces, I'm going to take my leggings and I'm going to fold them until about my knee area. And why is that? Because I want to leave enough seam allowance so that when I sew, it's not much shorter than I anticipated. So doing that, it'll be about this length. Now I'm going to lay it flat on the fold of my fabric like this. The fabric that I'm using is a 4-way stretch, so no matter which way you pull on it, it stretches. So I'm going to leave myself a little room because the fabric that I'm using is very stretchy. Okay, keep in mind that over here I have left about 2 inches because the elastic that I'm going to use, it's about that wide, so I want to make sure that I leave enough space to do my casing to put in my elastic. Now that you've done that, if you're a pinner, you could put a couple of pins into your fabric like this. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just to hold your piece that you're using for pattern and your bottom fabric in place. Now, if you want to make these shorter, you will have to cut shorter, of course, and then they will be a pair of really short types. But like I said, I'm making mine a little above the knee, and that's where I'll be cutting. I'll leave myself enough seam allowance here so for my hem. Okay, when I cut around here, I will also leave myself about 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch seam allowance, so that when I sew, if you don't leave your seam allowance, when you sew, it'll be even smaller. So make sure you leave enough seam allowance. If you need to pin for that, then by all means do that. And here's an example. This is the amount that you will be leaving for your seam allowance, and you're going to cut all around. So I'm going to go ahead and cut, and I'll be right back. Don't forget that if you're using a pair of leggings as a pattern, when you cut this section here, you're not going to follow where the elastic is. In other words, you're not going to cut like this because it'll be too slim. Remember, you have to leave room for the elastic. So once you get to this section, you're going to cut straight up like this. not in an angle, okay? Straight up, because then this angle will happen excuse me, once you insert your elastic. This is what the piece that I cut looks like so far. This part here is the top part. This is the waist area. Over here is where the little slant goes, a little hook area. And then since I want them to be a little above my knee, I stopped cutting there. What you're going to do now is you're going to pin these pieces. I just want to show you what it looks like opened up. Do not waste scraps. If you have scraps, don't get rid of your scraps, because next thing you know, you could make something really nice with your scraps. Okay, so this is so far what my shorts are looking like. What I need you to do now, I'm just going to shift the camera a little bit. What I need you to do now is you're going to take one piece and you're going to fold that piece in half with the right sides in the center, meeting in the center, and the wrong side facing you. So this is your piece. I'm going to give you step by step so that it's a little easy. Okay, you're going to fold it in half this way. You're going to do that to both pieces. You're going to fold both pieces in half and meet them together as such. When you do that with both pieces, you're going to take your pins and you're going to pin from this part where the little hook is down the leg. So you're only pinning not your waist section, but from this point all the way down the leg. Don't forget to leave your little seam allowance. So I'm going to do a couple just to give you an idea. You're going to do this to both of your pieces. This is just to give you a quick example. I've pinned from this point. You're going to pin all the way down to this end, leaving yourself this bit here for seam allowance. You're going to do this to both pieces. Then you're going to go to your machine and you're going to sew where you've pinned, only in that part on both pieces. This part, you're still doing nothing with it. This part still staying like that. You're only going from the little tip of this hook all the way down, pin and sew on both pieces. Now if you're using, don't forget, if you're using the stretch fabric like I'm using a 4-way stretch, this stuff stretches everywhere, then you need to have your ballpoint needle for stretch fabrics, which normally I use a size 11. I believe it's 75-11. You could also use an 80-12. I usually try to use an 11 for this type of fabric because it's thin. And besides that, more importantly, do not forget to use a stretch stitch. Whenever you're working with stretch fabrics, please, please, please do not forget to adjust your machine to a stretch stitch. I use the Brother CS6000i, and on my machine for stretchy fabrics, I use stitch number 3. I absolutely love it. It's strong stitch, and you could stretch your fabric once you're done sewing. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to bring the pieces to my machine, sew those pieces together. I mean the section that I told you to pin. We're going to sew that on both pieces, and I'll be right back.